For decades, Nigeria has been fighting a war against banditry with troops, drones, and all the heavy artillery. But what if we've been looking in completely the wrong place? What if the real battlefield isn't out in the bush, but inside our bank accounts? In this explainer, we're going to break down a really provocative argument, that the cure for this violent crisis isn't more bullets, it's better banking policy.
And this quote, wow, it just hits you, doesn't it? It grounds us in the grim reality of what's happening. Behind all the high-level policy debates, there's just this relentless, awful cycle of human suffering. A royal family is snatched, an officer is killed. It's the same tragic story, playing out over and over and over again.
So for almost 20 years now, the playbook has been pretty much the same. A military response, right? We're talking drones in the sky, special forces raids on the ground, all these big kinetic operations. The whole idea has always been to fight fire with fire.
Which, of course, brings us to the huge question at the heart of all this. I mean, if this military-first approach is the answer, why does the problem just keep getting worse? Why do kidnappings, ransom demands, and casualties continue to climb despite 2 decades of trying the same thing? The analysis we're looking at suggests maybe we've been fighting the wrong war entirely.
All right, so if tanks and troops aren't the answer, then what is? Let's dive into what this analysis says is the real engine driving all this violence.
It's easy to focus on the things we can see, right? The guns, the violence, the immediate physical threat. But the argument here is that that's like only looking at the tip of the iceberg. The real problem, the thing that actually drives this whole criminal enterprise, is hidden just beneath the surface. The weapons? They're just the tools of the trade. The business itself runs on something completely different.
And that something is cash. Plain and simple. Physical, untraceable cash. You see, the argument is that banditry isn't just random violence. It's a business, a very, very profitable one. And like any business, it needs revenue to survive. That revenue comes from ransom payments, and those payments are almost always made in physical cash.
And if you want to understand just how big this cash economy is, get a load of this number. Nearly 1 billion naira. And that was just the ransom paid in one state, Zamfara, between 2011 and 2019. The source is very clear. This isn't just money, it's fuel. It's the lifeblood that pays for the weapons, the informants, the whole operation.
Okay, so what would happen if you just turned off that fuel supply? Well, as it turns out, we actually got to see. The analysis points to this fascinating, almost accidental, real-world experiment that happened for a short time in 2023. It became the perfect test case for this very theory.
So back in early 2023, the Buhari administration rolled out a new cashless policy. Now, its main goal was all about monetary reform, but it had this incredible side effect. All of a sudden, getting your hands on large amounts of physical cash became really difficult. And just like that, the lifeblood of the entire bandit economy was basically choked off, almost overnight.
And the results? Well, according to the source, they were immediate and they were dramatic. Check this out. First, ransom deals just started collapsing because families couldn't physically get the cash. Second, you had bandits who were literally seen dumping bags of old Naira notes because they were useless. Third, even corrupt officials were reportedly abandoning their bribe money. And finally, those infamous extortion roadblocks, they just disappeared. Why? There was no cash for anyone to demand.
I mean, this quote from the analysis just says it all. The argument is that this policy did what years and years of military operations failed to do. And it did it without firing a single shot. It just went straight for the financial pipeline and crippled the whole criminal economy.
But, and you probably knew there was a but coming, right? This amazing experiment didn't last. The whole strategy was reversed, and just as quickly as the cash had disappeared, it came flooding back.
So how did it happen? Well, it was a few things. First, the Supreme Court struck down the policy around the middle of the year. Then, the new administration basically just dropped it. And to top it all off, the Central Bank of Nigeria actually started working to pump cash back into the system.
And we're not just talking about easing a few restrictions here. The central bank increased cash withdrawal limits by a jaw-dropping 500%. It was like they threw the financial floodgates wide open.
And the consequence? Well, it was exactly what you'd expect. As cash flooded back into the system, the banditry business model just roared back to life. The kidnappings and ransom demands that had practically vanished during that cash drought, they surged again. The beast had been refueled. Okay, so if this analysis is correct, where do we go from here? The good news is, the source doesn't just point out the problem. It actually lays out a really specific set of recommendations, a cure designed to starve this beast for good.
And this quote really nails the core idea.
The solution isn't about overpowering bandits with military might, it's about outsmarting them economically. The goal isn't to kill them, it's to bankrupt them.
So here's the proposed 5-step plan. Step 1. Bring back those cashless rules. 2. Make it prohibitively expensive to withdraw large amounts of cash. 3. Use the digital trail that creates to track and dismantle these ransom networks. 4. Do a serious audit of security budgets to root out corruption. And 5, and this is a big one, stop all cash payouts for ransoms. Period. This final quote just captures the entire argument in a powerful way. The proposal is a fundamental shift in strategy, from a 20th century military approach to a 21st century financial and technological one.
And that leaves us with one final, critical question. If a cashless strategy really is the answer, who needs to step up and lead the charge? Is this a job for the central bank, the national security apparatus, or the lawmakers? It's a question that forces us to think not just about what to do, but how to actually get started.